A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 15, verses 29 to 39. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. After Jesus returned, he walked along the Lake Galilee and then climbed a mountain and took his place, ready to receive visitors. They came, tons of them, bringing along the paraplegic, the blind, the maimed, the mute, all sorts of people in need, and more or less threw them down at Jesus' feet to see what he would do with them. He healed them. When the people saw the mutes speaking, the maimed healthy, the paraplegic walking around, the blind looking around, they were astonished and let everyone know that God was blazingly alive among them. But Jesus wasn't finished with them. He called his disciples and said, "I heard for these people. For 3 days now they have been with me, and now they have nothing to eat. I can't send them away without a meal. They would probably collapse on the road." His disciples said, "But where in this deserted place are you going to dig up enough food for a meal?" Jesus asked, "How much bread do you have?" "7 loaves," they said, "plus a few fish." At that, Jesus directed the people to sit down. He took the 7 loaves and the fish. After giving thanks, he divided it up and gave it to the people. Everyone ate. They had all they wanted. He took 7 large baskets to collect the leftovers. Over 4,000 people ate their fill at that meal. After that, Jesus sent them away. The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 15, verses 29 to 37. The Word of God reminds us about the messianic abundance, that is, the fulfilling of all our spiritual, emotional, social, and physical needs. As we begin to reflect on the miracle, be clear of one thing. What we have just listened to is much more than a report of a history. Matthew has packed this passage with symbolisms to ensure his readers understood the identity of Jesus as the Messiah, who attends to all the needs of his people. With full of trust and confidence in the power of Jesus, people bring their lame, the crippled, the blind, the dumb up the hill. What an astonishing sight it might have been. A feast for the eyes. When those people climbed up the mountain to be with the Lord, they were a haggard crowd, blind, deaf, dumb, lame, crippled, and ill. But at the end of the 3rd day, after all the healing and feeding, they came down the hill, jumping and dancing with excitement. They were fed to their heart's content, cured in body and healed in soul. For what reason did Jesus do this? He says, "I am filled with compassion for these people." This is what happens with everyone who gets up the mountain to be with the Lord. There is a transfiguration that happens on the mountain. The Messiah wipes away tears from their faces and takes away their humiliation before people. 7 loaves of bread sufficed 4,000 people, and in the end, 7 baskets were still left over. Put it bluntly, the gospel conveys a simple message. Are you willing to share your simple meal with someone? You are already solving the hunger of this world, and be assured that your own plate would never run short of food. It is already happening in our surroundings today. When COVID-19 pandemic forced a shutdown in an already impoverished region in India, one Catholic priest wanted to feed the hungry of his neighborhood and initiated a project called Mother's Meal, assuming the role of a mother who takes care of her children. Today, over 20,000 families in Asia and Africa are fed through the project. The 7 loaves have fed 4,000, and still 7 baskets full are left unused. There is a crucial element in today's gospel we cannot overlook. It was not Jesus but his disciples who distributed the food. In our world, there is an abundance. Food production outpaces population growth. If there is hunger, malnutrition, and other unmet needs, it is because we, God's stewards, are failing in our task of distribution. If there is hunger and suffering and death, it is because we are not doing our work. Christmas is a time of giving. We could ask ourselves, to whom are we giving? With whom are we sharing what we have? Perhaps we could widen the circle this Christmas with gifts that mean life or death for our receivers.